So in the beginning of the film, we see a couple who are in the park. Both of them are celebrating Valentine's Day. During this time, someone was also taking their photo with a camera. But the boy proposes to the girl, and the girl too happily says yes to him for marriage. Then the boy gets a call, which was from that cameraman. Actually, they had hired that cameraman so that he could take photos of these moments. He says that the photo did not come out well, so they should do it all again. The boy gets a little angry at him, but then both of them start recreating those moments again, and the cameraman starts recording all this, but then a killer comes there. He inserts the chalk directly into the lens, which goes out of the cameraman's eye and comes out from the back of his head, and he dies on the spot. He calls the boy from Posse's phone. They thought that it was the cameraman, so the girl, fed up with him, takes the phone and starts talking to him. But she hears the recorded message of the cameraman. Now, when the girl turns around, an arrow hits her friend's head, and he is also killed. The girl screams loudly. Then she is also attacked again. She runs to save her life, but the attacks are still happening on her. Now she hides behind the car, but then suddenly everything becomes quiet. She starts thinking, who was he and where has he gone? But the killer hasn't gone anywhere. He was coming toward her, and she starts getting attacked again. The girl runs away from there too, but falls on the way, and the killer reaches her. The killer attacks her crosswise, and the arrow pierces the girl's leg, and she screams. Despite being injured, she somehow runs away from there limping and goes to a factory. It was a winery where wine is made. There was also a guard here. The girl asks for help from the guard. The killer is after me. Please save me. Then the killer also reaches there. The guard takes out his gun to stop him. Seeing this, the killer takes out a knife from his pocket, on which a heart-shaped mole was made. Before the guard could shoot, he stabs him in the face, killing the guard too. And then he takes out a big knife to kill the girl. Seeing this, the girl again starts running and hides under a machine. The killer was searching for her outside. Soon, the killer finds out where she was hiding. He puts his hand in the window of the machine and grabs her by the throat. But the girl uses force to free her throat and closes the window. The killer's hand starts getting pressed, so he has to take his hand out. Then the killer realizes that the machine in which the girl was hiding grinds grapes and makes wine. Then he goes straight and turns on the machine. The girl sees that a part of the machine is moving towards her to grind her. She starts screaming loudly, and the killer was enjoying it. In no time, the machine reaches very close to the girl. And on pressing it, it breaks her into pieces, and then her blood comes out of the machine like wine. In binary, the killer makes a heart shape with flowers and leaves a hunter's heart in the middle of it, which was the mark of this killer. And his name is Hard Eyes because the mask he was wearing had heart-shaped eyes on it. That is why the name of this movie ... It is also Hard Eyes. After this incident, it spreads throughout the media that on the occasion of Valentine's Day, the Hard Eyes killer has returned again. He targets couples by selecting them. But if someone comes in his way, he won't spare them either. This killer first appeared only 2 years ago, and since then, he has made couples his prey. He is active only on Valentine's Day. That is why the media requests all girls to give up the idea of celebrating Valentine's Day. Do not make relationships with anyone. Do not go to meet them. Stay at home. Otherwise, the Hard Eyes killer will come. Some boys and girls accept this, but there were some people who said that we should not be afraid. After this, we see the main character of the story, whose name is Ellie. Ellie's relationship with her friend had broken, and now he had formed a relationship with someone else, but Ellie did not. She is still single, because even today she remembers her friend. Ellie's friend understands by looking at her face that she is sad, remembering her past. But Ellie diverts the topic by saying that today she has to present her ad in the office. That's why she's just a little nervous, and there is nothing. Like that, actually both of them work in a jewelry company. Yes, Ellie is the lead designer. She is given the task of making an ad whose theme is love. But Ellie is heartbroken. So how can she work properly on the theme of love? She makes an ad in which the relationship breaks up and the boy is killed. Obviously, no one likes that. The boss also gets very angry at her. She says, "Ellie, I trusted you." But Ellie wasted her time. So to fix all this, the boss calls a freelancer who recently made a great ad on the theme of love, and it also went viral. Ellie gets scared after seeing him, thinking he might take her job. But Jay says that he will work with Ellie on this ad, and now both of them are a team. On the other hand, we see the detective and the female officer. They go to investigate the crime scene at the winery. There, they find a blood-soaked ring, which does not seem to belong to the victim, Hunter. They think that it might belong to the killer on which JS was written. And now they keep it with them as evidence. Jay tells Ellie, "Tonight, come with me for dinner at a lovely place where couples go. I mean, it's a place for lovers. This dinner will be only for advertisement. Who knows? We might get a good idea," he says. "It's a kind of date, but just a professional outing. We're meeting, but only for work." Ellie says, "But today is Valentine's Day." Jay, who was single too, hadn't noticed. He says, "Oh, yes. You must have some plan today with your partner?" Ellie tells him that she doesn't have any plan because she's single. Jay says, "Then this is the best time, the best opportunity to go." But Ellie was a little worried. She says, "I'm not in the mood. I don't feel like it. Let's keep the dinner for tomorrow." Jay says, "I won't be able to go tomorrow. It's my friend's wedding." So now Ellie had no other option. Finally, she agrees. When Ellie reaches the hotel, there too, the security is checking. Because the fear of the Hard Eyes killer is spread everywhere. When she is being checked, the metal detector starts ringing. When the guards search her, a metal straw comes out, straws which are used to drink juice, etc. Ellie says, "I don't like paper straws at all. They look weird. That's why I always keep my metal straw with me, which is completely clean." After that, she goes and sits at the table. Meanwhile, Jay also comes there. The waiter sees her and says, "Madam, it seems your date has arrived." Ellie immediately says, "Hey, he's not my date. He's from the office. We're just working." Then Jay comes and sits with her and orders drinks for both of them. Then Ellie shares some of her ideas with him. But he was looking at Ellie carefully. Maybe he was more interested in Ellie than work. He asks her in between, "Why do I feel like your heart is broken?" Ellie replies, "There's nothing like that, and you should stay away from these things." Jay says, "I just asked because I felt it after seeing your ad." But Ellie starts telling him off. "Who are you to judge me? If you know so much about love, then why are you still single?" Yes, clearly, this girl's heart is filled with pain. He says, "First, calm your mind. Only then will we be able to work." And angrily walks out. Ellie then realizes, maybe I said too much. Coming out, she says sorry to Jay. "Don't worry, I'm fine. Please help me with this ad or else I will lose my job." Then Ellie sees that her ex is coming there with his friend. So, to tease him, she hugs Jay and tells him that Jay is her friend. Now Jay was very smart and immediately understands that Ellie is doing all this to make her ex jealous. He supports her and introduces himself as Ellie's friend. But both of them didn't know that the Hard Eyes killer had seen them hugging. He thinks of them as a real couple, and now his next target is both of them. After this, Jay goes to drop Ellie at her house, but he notices that Ellie has probably lost the keys. to her house. He thinks of helping her, but he just thinks and does nothing. Now the taxi driver notices this and encourages him, saying, "Go, son, help her and tell her what's in your heart." Then Jay comes to Ellie and asks, "What's the problem?" Ellie says, "Actually, I've lost my keys, but it doesn't matter. I'll break the window glass and enter inside. My landlord won't say anything to me." But Jay says, "Leave it. Don't get hurt. I know something I'll do this easily without hurting anyone." Then Jay punches the glass. He hits it but ends up hurting himself. Ellie realizes that all this happened because of her. That's why she takes Jay inside with her. She removes the glass pieces from his hand and applies bandage, telling him that she was a medical student earlier, but then she left her studies. Then suddenly Ellie remembers that she forgot to keep some of her things from the table in the cupboard. She secretly goes to pick them up, but the killer was hiding in the cupboard. Seeing this, Ellie gets scared and he attacks her. Jay starts fighting with him alone, but the killer overpowers him and picks him up, slamming him against the wall. Now, he takes out his knife to finish him, but then Ellie hits him with a lamp on his head. Taking the opportunity, both of them run out and lock the killer in the room. They were just taking a sigh of relief when the killer inserts the knife through the door. Now both of them run away from the house and come straight to the street. They were thinking of escaping in a taxi when the killer kills the taxi driver and now takes out his sword to kill both of them. Ellie angrily says, "Hey brother, you have some misunderstanding. We are not a couple. Leave us." Jay started calling the police from behind, but the killer sees him and immediately smashes his phone. Now both of them start running from there, but they see that the way ahead is closed. Then the killer catches Ellie. Jay again tries to save Ellie but gets beaten by the killer and faints. Seeing this, Ellie starts running and the killer leaves. Jay goes after Ellie. Ellie runs and hides in a big swing. After some time, she comes out and sees that the killer is sitting outside, swinging the swing. She hides again, and this time when she looks, the killer wasn't there. Now, suddenly, he turns on her swing too and starts swinging it at full speed. Then suddenly, he stops the swing, due to which Ellie falls down. She hadn't even recovered properly when the killer attacks her again, but she narrowly escapes, kicks the killer, and starts running. After going a little further, she falls. The killer comes to finish her, but just then, seeing the police approaching, he leaves her and runs away. The police save Ellie, but then she finds out something very strange. The police have caught Jay. They think he is the killer. Ellie says, "How can this happen? He was with me." Then Ellie goes to talk to Jay, but he gets angry at her.
"I
thought we were a team. It's really disappointing. But you left me alone and ran away." Ellie says, "What could I do? The killer was after me." Then she asks the officer, "How can you say that he is the killer?" They show her that they found a weapon and a mask with Jay. Ellie says, "Jay? But the killer is someone else." But they don't listen to her and take Jay away. During interrogation, they show Jay the same Jay's ring that was found at the crime scene and ask him, "Is this yours? Your full name is Jay Simon." Jay clearly denies it, saying, "How can it be mine? I'm still single." But the detectives keep questioning him. They say that Jay's locations match with all the places where the killer committed murders. Jay says, "I'm a failed actor. I keep moving around for work. It's just a coincidence. I'm innocent." But the detectives aren't convinced by his words. Meanwhile, Ellie also reaches the police station. She says Jay is innocent and asks them to let him go. But no one takes any interest in her words. However, one boy, David, does take interest in Ellie. He offers her coffee and even asks her to go on a date, but Ellie refuses, saying, "No thanks. I've just escaped death in this whole affair. Now David says, it's okay. We're happy that the killer, Hard Ice, has been caught. Then the female officer comes out and asks Ellie, tell me, when you guys are single, then why is the killer after you? The female officer asks. Ellie explains, I hugged Jay just to tease my ex, and maybe the killer saw all that. He probably thinks we're a couple, but we're not. Then suddenly, the lights go out. The female officer quickly turns on her torch and sends another officer to check the main power line. Ellie follows him, but the killer had already reached there. He kills that policeman. Seeing this, Ellie rushes to get the torch. But before she can, the killer picks it up, switches it off, and starts searching for Ellie, turning on the night vision of his flesh-hard eyes. But Ellie wasn't someone to give up easily. She cleverly attacks the killer and escapes from there. On her way, she bumps into a policeman. A female officer is there. Ellie tells her, the killer is behind me. Just then, the killer also shows up. Seeing him, Ellie runs away again, but the officer is left alone. On the other side, Jay and the detective hear a gunshot. They also hear the female officer scream. The detective runs to save her, but the killer suddenly appears and attacks him. He stabs the detective in the legs and then brutally cuts them. The detective dies a horrible, painful death. Now the killer. Comey's after Jay. Jay couldn't even run, he was handcuffed. But despite that, he keeps dodging the killer's attacks. Just then, Ellie shows up from the other side firing bullets. The killer is forced to run away. Now Ellie helps Jay unlock the handcuffs, and both of them start running from there. They reach a parking area, a place where many couples are sitting in cars, watching a movie together. The killer had followed them there too. He looks around and sees couples everywhere. To him, this was a playground full of prey, but none of the people are scared. They think he's just a masked fan. Walking through the cars, he suddenly stabs a man and says coldly, "Take it, brother. Happy Valentine's Day." Meanwhile, Jay and Ellie are still running. Then they spot a big white van and both of them hide inside it. But inside, there was already a couple ... talking. Jay and Ellie stop them and say, "Please don't get carried away. The killer is coming." But both were completely drunk. They couldn't understand anything. And then ... the killer shows up. He grabs the boy and shoves a sword into his mouth. Then he grabs his friend and forcefully does the same sword straight into his mouth. Both of them die a horrible, gruesome death. And now, the game of death truly begins. The killer starts killing everyone one by one, bringing total chaos to the entire area. People are screaming, running everywhere, trying to save their lives. Jay and Ellie, standing far away, watch everything in horror. Ellie says, "Enough is enough. We brought this death here, and now we have to take it away from here." Now, both of them team up ready to face Hard Eyes once and for all. Jay signals him from a distance and shouts, "If you've got the guts, then come here." Hard Eyes immediately leaves everyone else and starts chasing them. Jay says, "How? Will we fight? We don't even have a weapon." Ellie shows him her metal straw. Jay replies, "Oh friend, this won't work. We need something better." Suddenly, they both remember the sword stuck in the man's mouth. Together, they manage to pull it out. But just then, the killer arrives. Jay tries to fight with that sword, but the killer snatches it away and knocks Jay down, beating him again and again, mercilessly. In the final moment, the killer raises his knife to finish Jay off. But Ellie comes charging from behind and hits the killer with something heavy. It crashes against his head, cracking his skull. Blood gushes out. His knife falls, but even in pain he grabs Ellie. Seeing Ellie in danger, Jay picks up the fallen knife and plunges it straight into the killer's back. The killer collapses. dead. On the spot, both Jay and Ellie remove his mask and stare at him, shocked. They wonder who was he, and why was he killing everyone. The police arrive and praise both of them for killing the Hard Eyes killer. They say, "You two should be famous now. You've ended this terror." Then a female officer shows up and offers Jay a ride. It seems like she's interested in him. Ellie sees this and feels a pang of jealousy. Jay tells her, "I'm going to the airport. No worries, I'll call a cab." But the officer insists, "It's okay. I'll drop you." Jay says goodbye to Ellie one last time. Ellie, holding back her feelings, says, "Go on. Your friend is waiting for you." Jay replies, "She's not my friend," and leaves for the airport with her. Ellie returns home. But her heart was with Jay. She realizes she's in love with him. She regrets letting him go. She calls her friend and tells her everything. Her friend says, "He's a good guy. If you feel something, go tell him before it's too late." Now Ellie runs toward the airport, searching for Jay. But then her phone rings. It's a call from the Hard Eyes killer. Ellie picks up and is shocked by the voice. She says, "How can this be? You were dead." He replies coldly, "Don't use your brain. If you want your Jay to be safe, come to the location I tell you." When she arrives, she sees that Jay is tied up, held captive, and now the truth is revealed. The real Hard Eyes killer is named David, the same boy who casually talked to Ellie at the police station. But that's not all. There were not one but two killers, David and his wife, and she's none other than the female officer who had just taken Jay away pretending to give him a lift. Brought him here. Eli asks, "Why are you guys doing all this?" To which they say that we enjoy killing couples. It gives a lot of peace. And as for that old killer, he was just one of our fans who was crazy like us and hence who was killing everyone. Then they tell that when we saw you both hugging each other, we thought that no, you are our target. The one who came out of the cupboard and attacked was my wifei. The officer. The one who killed the driver was David. David attacked in the police station and his wife deliberately made it look like she was in trouble, and when the detective came to save her, David killed her, and the ring that was found was my wife's because its full name forms JS. Well, both of them give an option to Ellie that if she really loves Jay, then she'll shoot herself with a gun to save him, and if she doesn't, then she should shoot Jay. Then both of us will leave you. She chooses her love Jay and puts the gun on her forehead and confesses to him that I love you very much and I am giving my life for you. Jay stops her, but Ellie doesn't listen and says I'm sorry, and then she shoots Jay. Now Ellie did this because both of them were playing a game with them. Anyway, they had to kill both of them. But Ellie intentionally shot Jay on the shoulder, which touched him and hit David's wife, and David had no idea about this. He was laughing. Then when he saw him falling, he realized and started looking at his wife and getting the chance. Jay and Ellie started running but couldn't run very far. David catches hold of Jay and his wife also regains her composure and catches hold of Elle, and both of them are about to kill them together. But then Jay cleverly takes out an arrow from David's pocket and stabs him in the head. The arrow passes through his eye and comes out of his nose, due to which he falls down amidst the candles. Elle also inserts a metal straw in his wife's throat, and now Elle is extremely angry. She pushes his wife onto the statue wall in front, which goes through her throat. She was at a height, so the lower part of her body gets separated and falls. After this, David starts dragging himself towards them with a burning candle. Then Jay attacks him with his crossbow and finally kills him too. After everything ends, we see the time after 1 year, where the love ad made by Elle and Jay is liked a lot and they get a lot of praise. Ellie decides to leave her company and go back to the medical line. Then she goes on a date with Jay and proposes to him. Jay happily agrees to marry her, and the film ends with their story.